Here is January 2015, number 8. The value in dollars v of x of a certain car after x years is represented by the equation v of x equals 25,000 times 0.86 to the x. To the nearest dollar, how much more is the car worth after 2 years than after 3? So clearly this is an exponential decay function because the 0.86 is less than 1, you know it's decaying. And all you have to do is plug 2 in for x and find v of 2, and then plug 3 in for x to find v of 3. So we'll start by finding v of 2, which we just have to take 25,000, multiply it by 0.86, and raise it to a power of 2. And when I type that into my calculator, I get 18,490. So that is a dollar amount after 2 years. Okay, now if we find 3 years, v of 3, we'll do the same thing, but instead of substituting 2 in for x, we're going to substitute 3. And when I type that in, I get $15,901 and about 40 cents. So it's asking how much more is the car worth after 2 years right here compared to year 3. So all you have to do is subtract because we're finding the difference. So we're going to take 18,490 and subtract 15,901. And since it's to the nearest dollar, we'll keep it like this for now and round at the end, and I end up getting 2588.6, which is roughly $2,589, and that would be choice 1. Alright, so for number 9, it says, which function has the same y-intercept as the graph below? So if we start by looking just at the graph, our y-intercept, so it crosses the y-axis at -3. So your b value should equal -3. So if I look here, we could start with the first choice. So the first choice, if I get this more into a linear equation, and I divide everything by 4, then I'll end up with y equals 3 minus 3 over 2x. And it's saying that this is the y-intercept of a positive 3. So that's not what we want. Can't be 1. Number 2, 27 plus 3y equals 6x. Well, to get y alone, subtract 27 from both sides. We'll end up with 3y equals 6x minus 27. Divide everything by 3, and you'll end up with y equals 2x minus 9. So it says that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 9, but that's not what we want either. So we'll move on to number 3. Number 3 says 6y plus x equals 18. So I would subtract an x and end up with -x plus 18. Then divide everything by 6 to get y alone, and I'll end up with -1 over 6x plus 3. Again, I don't want that. The choice has to be 4. Let's double check. If I subtract 3 from both sides, I'll end up with 6x minus 3. So my y-intercept is -3. Number 10. Fred is given a rectangular piece of paper. If the length of Fred's piece of paper is represented by 2x minus 6 and the width is represented by 3x minus 5, then the paper has a total area represented by one of the following. In order to understand this problem, you need to know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So the length was 2x minus 6 and the width was 3x minus 5, so all we have to do is multiply. And when we multiply binomials, we have to double distribute. And we'll end up with 6x squared minus 10x minus 18x plus 30. Combine like terms, and we'll end up with 6x squared minus 28x plus 30, and that would be choice 2. Alright, number 11. The graph of a linear equation contains the points 3, 11, and negative 2, 1. Which point also lies on the graph? So a couple options here. You could plot these points on a graph and figure out what else would lie on there, or you could find the slope, and the slope formula is the change in y over the change in x. So your slope would be 1 minus 11 over negative 2 minus 3, which is going to be a negative 10 divided by negative 5. So your slope here is 2. Okay, so from that information, what I would do is I would make a t-table. And I know, let's see, negative 2 will be 1. Okay, I don't know negative 1, 0, 1, 2, but I do know that 3 is 11. So if my slope is 2, that means that I'm rising up 2 and over 1. So all I have to do is add 2 to my y. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 2 is 9, and again plus 2 would give me 11. So when x is 2, my y value should be 9. So that would be choice 4. Number 12. How does the graph of f of x equal 3 times x minus 2 squared plus 1 compare to the graph of g of x, which is equal to x squared? So what I would suggest doing is I would use your calculator and I would type this in, because remember, whenever you see f of x or g of x, anything like this, it all is equal to just y. So you can type into your calculator y equals and actually look at these two graphs to see what happens. So I also know that from horizontal and vertical shifts that if it's inside the parentheses, it's a horizontal shift. Okay, so this is telling me it's a horizontal shift to the right 2 units. So I can eliminate number 1, it's not going to the left 2 units. I can eliminate number 3. I also know that this plus 1 at the end means that I am doing a vertical shift up 1 unit. So that still leaves me with choice 2 or 4. So now I have to figure out, is the graph of f of x narrower, or is the graph of f of x wider? And if you type this in, the graph of f of x will actually be narrower than the graph of g of x. So this will be choice 2. Number 13, Connor wants to attend the town carnival. The price of admission to the carnival is $4.50, and each ride costs an additional 79 cents. If he can spend at most $16 at the carnival, which inequality can be used to solve for r, the number of rides Connor can go on, and what is the maximum number of rides that he can go on? So we know that at most is less than or equal to, which all of the choices have, and we know that $4.50 is the price he's going to pay no matter what. So it's definitely going to be $4.50, and then we're adding 79 cents for each ride. So this 0.79 is going to be multiplying how many rides he goes on r, and it's all going to be less than or equal to $16. That's the most that he can spend. So automatically, I can eliminate choice 1, and I can eliminate choice 2. So it's between choice 3 or 4, and ultimately I need to figure out if he can go on 14 rides or 15 rides. So the way that I would do this is I would just solve for r. So what I'm going to do is subtract $4.50 from both sides of the inequality, and I'll be left with 0.79 is less than or equal to 11.5. Now, and this is 0.79r. When I divide by 0.79, I'll end up with r is less than or equal to 14.56, which means the number of rides he can go on has to be 14 rides or less. You can't go on half a ride, so you can't round up or anything. So the choice would have to be number 3. He has enough money for 14.